Richard, welcome to the Fortress.
Hi, thank you very much for having me.
You're a very good man. I know that you were driving along to a pop-up shop, which I'm going to ask you about in a moment, but I bugged you and you said, okay, I'll pull over to a coffee shop. Did you manage to get to one?
I'm actually going on the tube, but yes, I've got to a coffee shop. I'm actually in London now, because obviously I was at the show last night, and I went to the pop-up shop last night, and I'm going again this morning to see if they've got any other rare items in there.
So just in case you're wondering which concert, which pop-up shop, Richard is up to, just listen to this statistic, it always blows my mind. He has been to 105 Madonna shows in his lifetime. The Celebration tour alone is 8 times so far,
Yes,
with
last
4 to
night,
go.
Yeah, that's correct. Last night was number 8.
Richard, do you know how many people listening are throwing popcorn going, how does this man afford his Madonna escapade?
Well, you see, there's a
Escapades,
little
I should
secret
say.
there. There's a little secret there. I'm not a millionaire. I'm not rich, but I have a Madonna bank account and I pay into it every month. And I've done that since 1990. And I pay into it every month. And even if the car needs something on the car, my Madonna bank account will not be touched for it.
Hang on, so you get a paycheck like the rest of us, but a little bit
Yep.
goes into, it gets diverted into a Madonna bank account.
Yes, so it's just a savings account, but it's even actually on my accounts. It's actually called Madonna. So when tickets come about, when tickets come available, I don't even look. I just buy what I want, and I get as many as I can for what I've got in that savings.
I just find that admirable. But back in the 90s, Richard, you would have only have to divert maybe £4 or €4 a week.
Yeah,
Now,
but I could travel, and it was more expensive to travel back then than it is now. Tickets are more expensive now, but travel's cheaper now.
It all evens out. How much are you putting into this account, can I ask?
Yeah, I put £150 a month in.
Wow. That's amazing. Well, I mean, what a good way, because then you don't get the Madonna shock.
It's a bill. It's a bill for me. It's my Madonna bill.
The Madonna bill causes Madonna shock, though. Believe me,
yes.
The last time I saw Madonna, the Rebel Heart tour, I got Madonna shock, which included the travel and the accommodation, and then you get there on time, and you've planned it all out for months, and ironically, she's not there on time. How interesting.
Yes. She's the queen. The queen, we wait for the queen.
I sat in a theatre with my young son at the time. I think he was less than 15, and we just sat there for 4 hours, and you can't leave because she might come out.
Listen, Blonde Ambition at Wembley, I actually got there at 2:00 in the morning. I saw the show, and then I came straight outside, and I sat in my spot again with some American friends ready for the next night.
Stop it. Really?
Yes, and I've just come back from. I've just been to Berlin and Amsterdam, and Berlin was snowing, and I was outside queuing in the snow.
It's such a lifestyle, though, isn't it, Richard? It's easy for people to mock, I suppose, but this is a beautiful lifestyle you have.
Listen, it's the most amazing thing to me when I'm in that arena or in that stadium. There is me, and there is one other person, and that is Madonna.
Are you always on your own, by the way, or do you take people with you?
No. I've got an husband. My husband came to Amsterdam and Berlin with me, but he didn't come and queue, so he was about 10 behind me, which was quite funny because on Instagram, I took a picture from behind me saying, "Spot Neil." People looking in the crowd for him. He wouldn't queue because it was too cold, but it's quite funny when he does come with me, and when he's with me, he actually, as the lights dim, he normally taps me, and I'm right irritated. I'm like, "What?" And he always says, "See you in 2 hours."
Oh my goodness! Well, it could be worse. He could be saying, "I'm going out to the loo. I've just picked the wrong time every time."
Yeah, true.
Does he roll his eyes? Like, is he the one dragged along to all of this, or does he enjoy it too?
He rolls his eyes a little bit. He's a massive. He's into a group called Steps, and I go and I go along with him. So, but he doesn't come along with me because of the price of the tickets.
I can tell you something, Richard. I mean, he owes you. If he's into Steps and you have to listen to that too much, I mean, my God,
Thank
he certainly
you.
owes you.
I need to play this back to him. That is brilliant.
You can play it back to him. What's his name?
Yes.
Neil, is it?
Neil, yes.
Neil, get some taste. There you go.
Yes.
Hey, I'm really interested to ask you about the 8 shows you've been to for Celebration, but something that dawned on me when I was about to talk to you. What's the one thing that has remained in common throughout all the Madonna shows you've been to, stretching right back to her first tour and all the way up to this one? Is there something that never changes about Madonna?
Her ability to keep the audience engaged, her ability to command that stage. I mean, when I first saw her on when I first ever saw her on the Virgin tour, I mean, the Virgin tour was very raw, very new, and she was very sort of. She wasn't very engaging, but she was very commanding, and you could feel her presence in the room. And I think every show I have ever seen, when she comes on that stage, and it isn't just because I'm a massive fan, I think it is just she commands the room.
Yeah, there's something about Madonna and only a very small select group. I mean, certainly not Steps, but there's some stars that when they get on the stage, there's a magnetism, there is an electricity, right? And even through YouTube, I can tell the Celebration tour still has that. When Madonna first arrives, my God.
I mean, the other thing is as well. I mean, she's a precision throughout. I mean, I've watched back videos of what I've got of like from each show, and the movement of her and the dancers is so spot on, and it's been like that throughout. And I think this is what's made her shows what they are. And I do think, she is groundbreaking, and I am gonna blow her trumpet here. And the Blonde Ambition set the blueprint for every concert that came after. Because up until then, you went and you saw a band on a front stage. When you saw the Blonde Ambition, it was a theatre show. It was the most magnificent thing I'd ever seen in my life. And then since then, you go, and every other artist, male and female, have followed that format now.
Well, I mean, I remember Blonde Ambition. She introduced theatrics into.
Yes.
It was just incredible, and that girly show obviously took that a step further.
Yeah.
And she really hasn't slowed down. She really hasn't had a dud tour. There's ones we favour, but there hasn't been a dud. I mean, she can't be a dud on stage. It's her natural habitat.
Yes, totally agree. Totally agree. And I mean, like I did the backstage tour last night, and they were saying Madonna is very private. And they said when she's on tour, her family are her dancers and her crew. I mean, it was one of the crew showing us round, and they said, I don't have to say this, but she really looks after us. They said she really looks after us, but she's in her bubble when she's traveling. And I'll tell you a little fact what I found out, what I was very surprised at. There is only one stage, this stage that is touring, because normally there's like two stages, like there's one setting up in one city while there's one in another city. This
Oh,
one, there is one stage, and it has travelled throughout Europe, and after tonight it will head to London, to America, sorry, from London.
isn't that amazing? That is a really interesting tidbit. Hey, by the way, I think I saw you on Facebook with pictures of Mercy and other children of Madonna. Is that true?
Yes, that is true. Last night there was a bit of a mix-up with my ticket, and I was not an happy bunny because I was meant to be front row centre. And when I got there, there was a mix up with the seats and stuff. I've been moved tonight as well. I don't know where I am tonight, but they actually moved me. And I said I wasn't very happy where I was sat. And they said, just bear with. And I think, you might be happy where you sat. And the dancers that wasn't dancing came in, makeup artist, Mercy. I met David, and I was in with the crowd last night.
That is incredible. So, did
Tell
you
me.
pay for some sort of package because you're talking about backstage tours? I mean,
I
these are things that plebs don't get. How did you manage all of this?
I did the VIP package last night because I wanted the jacket. I don't know if you've seen the limited edition
Is
jacket,
that the
what
one
they've
that looks
done.
like the Blonde Ambition jacket?
It does, but on the inside, they're selling the one what looks like the Blonde Ambition one, but this one it's similar sort of thing. But on the back of it, it's got the image of the cross of all the Madonnas from the Celebration logo and everything, and then on the inside, it's all photos from the sex book.
Oh, so you could literally be a London flasher.
Yes, without being flashing. Yeah. So it's a bomber. It's a reversible bomber jacket,
Oh,
and
wow.
there is just one made for every VIP ticket that was sold, and it was the Immaculate Collection package. So anyone who's got that, you're in for a treat.
Oh, that's awesome, Richard. Now, I know you've still got some shows to go, but I'm curious because my perception of this is that she was really nervous, as you'd expect, when she first came out, especially after everything she'd been through health wise. But it seems like things are really relaxing into place. Now, you've been to 8 shows for Celebration. What's your perception?
Each speech she does a speech each night, and each one's a little bit different. And last night, she actually said, last night, she almost died. You know, she says, I'm actually doing a celebration, and it's a celebration of my life, and I am celebrating it because I actually almost died. And it's the first time I've actually said this out publicly.
Mm.
And she sort of said she woke up and she had tubes in her, monitors everywhere, and her children and her family round her. And she says, and this is the celebration tour, and we are all here to celebrate. And you know, like each night, she does a different speech. Like on AIDS Day on the 1st of December uh, in Amsterdam, that was so moving. The speech she did, and she told about her friends and the images through Live to Tell. The first picture that comes up was the first person she knew, one of her best friends who died of AIDS. And the tribute was absolutely amazing. But she's embraced every city, and she's actually another thing in Amsterdam. You know, she says, "Look at you're all high as kites." She's, but it's legal here. She so don't think you're with it because obviously it's legal, so it's normal. And each city she said something about, which is different this time as well.
After being to that many, oh, excuse me, frog in my throat. After being to that many shows, is there a section that absolutely stands out to you that you think, yep, this is the bit, this is the moment, this is the highlight of the entire show?
Uh, There's a couple actually. Uh, I mean, live to tell. There's not a dry out eye in the house. Even I normally have ice cubes. I don't cry. If it struggles to get an ice cube out there, I had a tear. I wondered what it was leaking out of my eyes. You know, there was like
Well,
water
the
running down my
British,
face.
yeah, you're
Yeah,
not
yeah.
renowned for your tears, are you?
Well, there wasn't a dry eye in there.
Mm.
And then I've got to say, hung up. Wow. She does the original hung up, she mixes it in, but then she turns it into the original hung up, and the crowd goes mental. And I mean mental. So, and then also, I have got another one. Bad Girl.
That's where her daughter plays the piano, isn't it?
Mercy comes up. Yes, Mercy comes up and she plays the piano.
Mm.
And she does Bad Girl, and she does it so well. Because obviously she's never done it live before.
Well, we've been waiting for years, so it's quite a treat that she's singing it. I've got to say, I'd love to ask, what's her voice sounding like, and how's she looking up close?
Right. Oh, do you know, I love the Queen. I really love her. I really do. I'm sorry about this. Her voice is outstanding. Last night there was a few little bits where I could tell she was a little bit croaky, but what do you expect after all the show she's just done? And I love the fact I could hear that because it means she's live.
Yes.
You know, and because if you further back, the screens are slightly out, and somebody was saying to me, "Is she miming?" So then I showed them one of my videos, and they was watching her mouth and the screens are slightly out. So anyone watching it on the screen could think, "Is
I've got
she
to say,
miming?"
Richard, I went to Charlie Puth in Sydney not long ago, and the screens were out of sync as well. It's rather
Yes.
disturbing, isn't it? Why can't they fix that? Anyway.
It is because obviously you're looking at it, and from a point of view, you've paid all that money. You're thinking, are they singing live or not? So
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
I totally get that. But you could even tell with some of her actions when she was dancing, her hand was up in the air live, but on the screen it was just going up.
Yes, yeah.
So her voice, yes. Now the other thing, bless her. I mean, I hate saying this, I really do, but I could send you some pictures. Her arms are looking a little bit aged.
Her
But she
arms.
looks, yes, because she was so toned and muscle. She was
Yeah.
so fit. It's like a man who's been ripped all his life. As he gets older, his skin starts
Mm,
to sag a little bit. But do
mm.
you know what? She embraces it. She absolutely embraces it. She looks phenomenal. And I am not just saying that. These pictures that you've seen in the press and stuff, you look at my live pictures, they're live pictures. They're not edited, they're not filtered. They are Madonna.
And she certainly seems to be owning that stage too, doesn't she? Like I said, my perception is that the first few shows I was like, "Oh, she's quite frightened." I could almost see her shaking, a bit like she did at the Oscars back in the '90s. Could see that little shake happening, but she certainly is relaxed into it. If the most recent clips are anything to go by,
Yes, yeah. Now, when I saw the first one, she came on and she looked really happy to be on, but then the sound went, and I think it threw her out. She
right?
stood there for a good 15 minutes talking to us, which most artists would have left the stage. She stayed on that stage and talked to us, and it threw her out for the night. You could see that because I've seen so many, and I've seen so many opening nights as well, and it just sort of threw her. And then the second night, she came on really late because there was sound issues again, and she wanted it right before she came on. And then obviously she was cut short. She finished on Rain. The fourth night was the night when I noticed she'd settled into it, and that was the Wednesday night in London. And then by the time I'd gone to Berlin, she was loving it.
She's having so much fun, isn't she?
Do you know, you can see she's on some tours, you can see she's doing it, it's a bit of a chore. But on this one, you can see, and the more I watch the show, the more I get the story. I mean, I understood the story and I understand it, but the more I watch it, the more it sinks in. And it's even at the end, everybody's going on about the end of the show is so abrupt, and it's just like, you don't expect it to end there. But now I've seen the show, I do expect it to, I get it. You
What is
know,
that? I keep hearing this criticism of the last three songs, and it's abrupt and all of this sort of stuff. What do you get that the rest of us don't?
right. Well, she's coming on, and some nights she adds a little bit of music in it. Some nights she doesn't add music in it. I've seen both. And Celebration, which you would think she would do massively, she doesn't. It is just a clip of Celebration, but it's Big Time Madonna she ends on. And
Mm.
it's like all the other dancers come on dressed as Madonna. I'm sure you've seen the pictures and everything. But the more you watch the show and the more it sinks in, which I'm sure people will when they watch the video and everything, she's more or less saying, "This is me, bitch, I'm Madonna." And then she just goes off.
Yeah,
And
it's almost
and
designed to be quite sudden.
yes, it took me a couple to get it, but then when I watched it again and again, because I was thinking the same, I'm thinking that can't be the end when I first watched it. But now I've watched it, numerous times and loved it. It's like I know why she does it now, because it's like, bitch, I'm Madonna. This is it for now.
Almost like a dot 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 to be continued.
Yes, and they also explain to us what the frame stands for. The
What
frame is
frame?
a window. The frame that she sings up in the air in, and then David comes. Have you seen the frame? It's like a big picture frame, big square, and she floats in it. She
Oh,
does
I
ray of
didn't.
light in it.
I've seen it. I didn't realize it was a picture frame. I thought she was floating around in a box.
Well, it's actually a window, and
Right,
it's a window from the past to the future to the present,
right.
and it's taking you through the window, and it's taking you from her past to the present, and then the future is David up in the window because that's her future.
She, right up to Rebel Heart, was just dancing her ass off. And it was only
Yes.
recently that somebody told me, and I still don't know if it's true, that she had a full on hip replacement. What's the movement like? Because she's always been so known for being, as you said, athletic, but
Yep.
also so bloody brilliant as a dancer. Like maybe, people say she's not technically perfect. For me, she always has been. She is the
Yes.
best dancer. What's the dancing like on this particular tour?
Right. Right. She's very, very smart with this. She's top half dancing. A lot of her dancing, if you watch it, you don't even realise the dancers are dancing round her, and she's doing the top half of all the moves.
Yeah, yeah.
And her bottom half is not moving as much as it used to. There's none of the when she used to do the kicks, the leg kicks and everything. There's none of
Mm,
those, which
mm.
I missed because I've seen it on. You see it on them all, but it's that cleverly done. You will think she's danced her ass off watching it.
It still looks as energetic. Yep, got it.
Oh, listen, she's on chairs. She does, references to keep it together because there's lots of Easter eggs in this, and when you see, the more you see it, the more you see things. It's like the front stage is like the cake, what Brittany
Yes.
and Christina was on, and then
Oh,
the,
sorry, and
the
that she was on at the first MTV Awards.
Yes, yeah, because they used it twice, didn't they? Yeah, sorry.
Mhm.
And then there's all the way through. You see little Easter eggs everywhere, and then the chairs come on, and she does "Open Your Heart," but then she walks on the chairs like she did on "Keep It Together,"
Mm.
and there's all these things, and I've noticed something different every show, and I thought, what else is there for me to spot?
And it is really lovely how she's doing mainly the original tracks. Like, I love hearing Erotica in its original form.
Oh, oh, it's amazing. I mean, and it's. Normally at a show, there's a toilet break. Everybody knows it. There's a toilet break at every show. I can't tell you where the toilet break is. You're just gonna have to stand there and hold it until the end of the show.
Is that why so many people in the audience are cross-legged? Now I
Yeah,
understand. Um,
definitely.
Richard, you're stalking her. I've said that in one of my previous podcasts, so I'll make that joke again. You're stalking her across to the North America really soon because she's finishing up the European leg. She's heading over there. Are you looking forward to the North American tour? And do you expect her to make any changes?
Do you know what's quite funny is a few people have asked me that. One change I really hope what happens is there's a tour book. I hope a tour book comes, but I can't see it now. A few people have said that, but I think the songs fit in so well with her journey. I don't think she can. I was over the moon. She dropped Frozen. I was over the moon. She dropped Frozen because I think it'd have brought it down, the energy down, and Rain fit in so perfectly. Now that's one thing I think they might change. They might change the backdrops and everything because everything is for Frozen. She does Rain, but the backdrops are Frozen.
So you're
So
thinking that the show will remain pretty much substantially the same. What about her look? Because I know she debuted this different hair recently. I don't know if she's kept it.
well, she's had three different corsets as well.
Oh,
So the corsets, what she wears on Vogue, I've noticed three different ones. The first one on the first night was a black one, and it had like a fringe around the bottom of it. And then she's got two like silver ones, two like really bejeweled ones as well, so slightly different. And also the Ray of Light, there is two suits for that. What I've noticed as well, there's one what's silver and it's all mirrored, and then the other one is like a grey mirror. And it's not just the lights on it because I've been close enough to know sort of see it. But she has got different things. She's got the wigs. I think I must have seen 50 wigs. There's that many wigs. But
if you don't mind me saying, Richard, there's a few wigs I've noticed that haven't been particularly flattering.
yes, and that's you're talking about Bad Girl.
Maybe when
Uh,
she's singing erotica, maybe I'm thinking. I haven't been
yeah,
to the
well,
show, obviously,
Erotica
but
Bad Girl's the same one.
right, right.
And without being, because I can't really fault her, but I don't think it is the best wig. I said we've seen drag queens with better wigs.
It just looks like it needs
They
a brush. And I'm not. Believe me, I'm the last person in the world. I've got.
do you know? I agree with you. I totally agree with you. But they don't look like the real hair, and I think that's a problem because she has a hood
Oh,
up. When she first
oh,
comes up, she has a hood up, and she takes the hood off, and I think
yes.
it sort of it moves it, and then obviously because it's not real hair, it stays.
Got it. Got it. Okay. Look, you've
Although
got.
I'm not an hairdresser or wig expert.
Well, you and I are one in the same there. Um,
Yes,
You've got four more to go. I know that, but I think that you've been to enough shows to answer this final question, if that's okay. A lot of people predicted that this would be disaster. That with everything that we saw before this tour, even before she fell seriously ill, it looked like she was on a road to destruction. She didn't look like the Madonna of old. She was behaving what many people believed to be very strangely. So people predicted this tour was going to be a dog's breakfast. What
totally
do you
agree.
well, that's what people thought. Tell us
Yes.
what's the for someone who's been to as many shows as you have. what is the legacy of the celebration tour?
We've got Madonna back.
She
Oh,
back.
that brought a little tear to my eye. We've got Madonna back. Yeah. Gone of the days of her being hanging around with these, sorry if there's any fans out there, these stupid kids who think, smoking weed and making silly videos. I mean, at one point I thought Madonna's TikTok should have been, not a TikTok and her Instagram should have been taken off her, you know.
A bit like Roseanne
And
Barr.
yeah, and it was a case of, like you say, self-destruction. I think what she's done is I don't know if they're going to do the movie what she wanted to do, and I think this is a replacement of it. And she has put her heart and soul into it, and we have got Madonna, what we all love and loved, back.
Couldn't have said it better, Richard. That's as I've watched it. It's like, you know what? She's showing them all why she's such a bloody star again, because she's doing what she
Yes,
does best. She has accepted, and I think for the past 5 years we haven't seen Madonna really reconciling who she is, where she's at. Um, but here, she's very much even adapting dance routines, adapting the songs, and this is acceptance. So she's doing her best work again.
Madonna's doing Madonna. And
Mm.
I love the references to when the girl with the mask comes on. Have you seen those?
No.
Right. There's a girl with a mask that comes on, and it's a rubber face mask, and that's Madonna's inner self. And
Oh,
she,
when she
and
does
she,
Like a Virgin, or on the bed of the
uh,
Like a Virgin. Yeah,
yes,
yep.
yes, yeah. Well. That image appears throughout the show at different stages, and
Oh,
she frees Madonna, and she frees Madonna of her anxieties and of her inner self, and she keeps saying she remembers who she was, and that's where she's gone back to.
it's a beautiful sentiment, that's for sure. I'll tell you what, Richard, you are so easy to talk to. Thank you.
I told you it'd be more than just 2 minutes.
Well, that's my
You've got me
fault
on my
as well.
favourite subject.
All right. Well, look, you go back to your pop up shop or wherever you're heading, and tell Neil he has my condolences. Well, up until a point, besides the steps fiasco, but it's been absolutely delightful talking to you, and you enjoy that North American leg of the celebration
Listen,
tour.
I appreciate the time you're putting in with me as well, because we are all fans, and I'm not the biggest fan out there, I'm sure, but everybody's a fan in their own right, so I do appreciate it as well.
Oh, Richard, you must be. I mean, what's the figure again? 105.
105, yeah.
I'd like to hear from the person who's been to more than 105 shows. Give me a break.
Yeah, I think one of my claims is I think last night in that theatre there might have only been me and Madonna who's been to every tour.
And you're probably right. That's why it's so funny.
Yeah, well, I told David that, and I told him how many shows, and he was absolutely amazed, and like he had his picture on the stage with me. So I
What were the
actually got
kids
on the
like?
stage last night. I was on the stage.
Get out. What were the kids
Yes.
like?
Do you know? Absolutely grounded and lovely.
Yeah, yeah.
I couldn't believe how, this sounds really bad, but how normal it was.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's reasonable to think they'd be spoiled and out of touch and all of that, but they weren't.
No, definitely not. Nope. No, Mercy James she was gorgeous inside and out.
Mm, mm,
She really was. And I'll be honest with you, I'm one of those people who are not a fan of the children on stage because I haven't come to see the kids.
yeah,
And I
yeah.
know that's like quite controversial to Madonna, but I've come to see her. I don't want to see her kids flaunting around. But do you know, they fit in so well, and it's not like these are my kids. They're part of the show.
Yes, they've done it really respectfully. I mean, you haven't come to see the Partridge Family or the Osmonds, as you say. So, I mean, yeah, I can understand the hesitation, but I'm so glad you got to meet them and confirm what comes through in the videos, which is that they're really lovely, lovely people.
I was honest to God, it blew me away how grounded those kids were and how they was quite happy to dance along with you and chat to you. And, you know, it was surreal. It really was. It was a surreal moment, and there was lovely. There was not 1 ounce of them was like they are better than us.
You continue having those surreal moments, Richard, all right? Because, I mean, you deserve it. You're a huge Madonna fan. And, you know, she's had a lot of tours, but she doesn't tour that often. So you are absolutely in your element. Enjoy.
Thank you very much. Thank you. And you have a good day too, or a good evening.